Today on Monkey Life, sad news at Paddy's enclosure.
Rather than letting her suffer any longer, this morning's the day, and it's just terribly hard to face up to.
It's all change for the woolly monkeys, but Picaya decides to stay put.
Picaya! Good girl, come on then.
And round-the-clock care for baby Bulu. Monkey World in Dorset, nestled deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescues and rehabilitates abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
I think this one's a little boy, and I think that one over there might be an older lady.
The park provides a home for more than 240 monkeys and apes, allowing them to live out their lives in safety and peace. It's breakfast time at Paddy's enclosure, but the chimps are rather subdued. Normally, they'd be raring to go when they're let out in the morning. But today, Bart's mum, Susie, is missing. She was taken to the hospital a few weeks ago because the team were concerned that her breathing had become laboured. Everyone was shocked to discover she had an inoperable heart condition.
It's terminal.
But they didn't want to put her to sleep immediately because they were concerned about the effect on Bart and his sister Eddi if their mum suddenly disappeared. So the veterinary team made her as comfortable as they could. Until today.
We could carry on trying to manage her in the pavilions and give her medication and just watch her get worse and worse, but that's not fair or nice, so rather than letting her suffer any longer, this morning's the day, and it's just terribly hard to face up to.
Susie was brought to Monkey World in 1994. After being rescued from Spain, where she was being used as a beach photographer's prop.
You know, it's just terrible because Susie's been here for 19 years now, and she's a significant part of the park. She's a significant part of Paddy's group, and she's brought so much to them that you want to make it right after everything that she's been through.
The team's focus must now be on Bart and Eddi. Bart is 6 years old and very mischievous. He tries to act the big man and causes trouble wherever he goes. But underneath, he's still a mummy's boy. The team are concerned about how he'll cope, but he does have a big support network, including his sister Eddi. She's now 12, so almost fully mature and pretty sensible, but will undoubtedly feel the loss.
We'll have to keep an eye on Bart and Eddi and make sure that they're okay, but I believe that the rest of the group will rally around and step up to the plate and help them through it. So most important thing to Bart and Eddi at this point in time is their relationship with the rest of Paddy's group, and that's solid.
Despite Susie's death, life at the park has to carry on as normal. And today there's going to be a big switch round of the woolly monkeys. There are 3 groups at the park with 3 strong leaders: Levar, Oscar, and Chippy. Monkey World has been incredibly successful at breeding woolies over the last few years, but because they're so highly endangered in captivity, it's important to avoid inbreeding and make sure everyone gets on well together. The woolly team also feel it might do some of these South American primates good to have a change of scene. But the move has had to be meticulously planned, because the staff are only too aware that woolly monkeys are highly strung and prone to high blood pressure, which can be dangerous for them.
It's always nervous doing a move because they do suffer from stress. So, you know, we try to do everything that we can to try and reduce that. So, although I'm hoping that it's all going to go well, there is, obviously I am slightly worried and anxious that, it's all going to go well. So we'll just see, fingers crossed.
The first woolly who is going to move is Picaya. She recently arrived from a zoo in Holland as part of the European Endangered Breeding Programme. Picaya has been living with Oscar, but a new home is going to be with Chippy's group.
I've got Picaya!
The keepers need to get her into a travelling crate to transport her to her new house.
Picaya! Good girl, come on then.
But Picaya seems quite happy where she is.
Picaya!
Donna tries bribery,
Please? Me.
but Picaya doesn't fall for it.
Picaya! Do you want to try encouraging her a bit, Carly?
Carly gives her a gentle nudge, which does make her move,
Hey, darling.
but unfortunately, not into the crate.
There you go.
Animal manager Jeremy decides to take the lead and blocks Picaya's path, so her only way is forward. Picaya does try to object, but eventually realises she's fighting a losing battle, so gives in.
In. Yeah.
She's taken straight over to meet her new leader. Chippy has been separated from the others and kept inside. Picaya seems quite bold at first, but when she spots Chippy, her nerves get the better of her. Chippy is a pretty chilled woolly and has welcomed newcomers in the past, so is happy for Picaya to take this at her own pace.
At the moment, they're sort of keeping out of each other's way, really. Chippy just does the odd display. Picaya's kind of just moving around the space. She's still quite cautious of Chippy, but that's understandable. He's a new male and he is bigger than Oscar as well. So, yeah, so far good. Just give it a bit of time.
So one down, plenty more to go. And the next move will be more of a challenge, as it'll involve most of Levar's group. The Theang Nursery has had its own fair share of comings and goings over the past year, but the youngsters seem to be very accepting of newcomers and are all getting on like a house on fire. The two adult females, Koow and Oisin, keep a motherly eye over them all. 5-year-old Sylvester has always been close to Oisin, but recently he's been spending more and more time with the likes of Jin, who's a similar age. The Sumatran orangutan is a gentle soul, but likes a bit of rough and tumble now and again, and is a great acrobat. He also enjoys hanging out with Jin's brother Kai. But at 10 years old, Kai is approaching adulthood, so his days in the nursery are numbered. Baby Awan is a new addition to the nursery. She's Xiaokuai's adopted daughter. She may still be young, but she's growing in confidence and loves a good play session with the boys. Although her mum is never too far away. Being the baby of the group, she tends to rule the roost and is happy to jump on Sylvester's misfortune when he drops his blanket. But Sylvester isn't a complete pushover. The cheeky little orang tries to pinch it back, but Sylvester isn't going to give in to her, even if she is the baby. Awan is still in the mood for mischief, so decides to make her own entertainment. She still has a lot to learn. But Awan is no longer the youngest orang at the park. Baby Bulu has recently arrived from Budapest Zoo. His mum sadly died a few days after he was born.
Hey you!
The team were hoping that Xiaokuai would take him under her wing. But unfortunately, she hasn't, so the keepers are still looking after him. He's now 4 months old, and like any baby his age, needs constant care.
Hand. Wait.
So they're having to mind him while carrying out their normal duties.
Come on. Properly.
Today, Jarno, who's in charge of the orangs, is spraying them with oil, with Bulu in tow. The oil helps keep their skin supple and their hair in good condition.
Turn around again.
The orangs are taught to present parts of their body to the keepers in return for treats. This helps when they have to be injected for medical reasons, but also comes in handy for oiling. Bulu is getting sleepier by the minute, and long before Jarno's rounds are finished, he's fast asleep. Buddy the Bengal slow loris seems to be settling well into his new home. He was rescued by Alison from the Maldives a few days ago. The little loris was confiscated by the Maldivian authorities during a drugs raid. Alison has decided to rename him Koow, which is the Maldivian equivalent of Buddy. And she's taking an unusually hands-on approach with him.
I saw when he was on the cage on Police Island that they were actually stroking him through the bars, and he seemed to really appreciate it. So when he came, I actually was feeding him some insects, and he actually leaned out and wanted to be stroked, so I did. And what's very clear is that he really appreciates his muscles stretching and being sort of massaged, and then it stimulates a grooming session.
In just a few days, Koow's appearance has improved.
His coat, when we first got him, was sticky, filthy, and tacky, so he needed cleaning up. He's lost a lot of his fur on his flank and across his back, and the rest of it is a really, really dark color, which the original photos that I was sent of him, he was quite fair, quite blonde. So we're doing all kinds of things to encourage him to groom. Often when he eats insects, he turns and starts grooming both his hands and his arms. If you give him a good rub and ruffle him up a bit, he then turns around and starts grooming himself. And it seems to be working, because just in 2 days, when I touch him now compared to 2 days ago, my hands stuck to his fur, literally. He was tacky, and now he's feeling sort of silky and nice.
Loris are nocturnal primates, so to monitor his movements, the team have installed infrared cameras.
You come in during the day, you don't want to disturb him. He doesn't need to be up during the day. Yet you want to know that he is moving properly and getting some exercise and feels okay in himself, because every morning when you come back in, he's got his favorite sleeping position and he's back in it again. But we're already seeing that at nighttime, he is around everywhere. He's actually quite a nosy little thing, and he checks out everything, and he is paying particular interest to the branches he's walking across. You can see him stop, start sniffing a bit.
But one mystery still remains about Koow.
One of the perhaps funniest things that we're concerned about now is what sex he is. We were told that he's a male slow loris. I've got some experience working with slow loris in Vietnam, and what I do know about them is that they're not easy to identify, and the two sexes do look an awful lot alike just from external appearances. The loris have a funny little button of flesh between their legs, boys and girls, and it's all what happens behind that little knob of flesh that gives you your answer. We're all looking really careful. The keepers are sending me photographs of up close and personal shots of Koow, but it's still not entirely clear. But as far as we're concerned, we don't mind whether he's a boy or a girl. It makes no odds to us. Could have a bit of an impact upon where he goes in his future life if he's going to have a male-female relationship or a female-female relationship. Should be okay, even if it is a girl, but sort of like to know whether we've got the name right or not.
There's certainly no doubt who the boys are at the lemur enclosure, because they're all feeling rather agitated. It's the time of year when the females come into season. It drives the boys crazy and can lead to fights within the group. And the lady they've all got their eyes on is 5-year-old Kaiyah.
Most females are castrated apart from a couple, and one of them in particular, Renton, is quite interested in Kaiyah because she has had an implant, but obviously when she comes into season she still shows all the hormones and things, so he can pick up on that, and it's just causing quite a lot of tension within the group.
But in fairness to the boys, Kaiyah can be quite provocative.
Kaiyah doesn't help herself at all. She sort of attracts attention, so she will kind of like waft her bum at the males and things as well, which, yeah, it doesn't help her at all. And she doesn't really like the attention. If one of the males is pestering her, then she will warn them off. So she doesn't seem to want that constantly.
There is a solution.
Our other female fennel has had a hysterectomy, so she simply doesn't cycle and none of the males are really that interested in her. Even though they still know she's a female, she doesn't come into season, so it doesn't have the same effect on the group. But Kaiyah does, so we've actually taken the decision now to spay her as well, just so that we don't have all these problems that we've got with all the males at the moment. So it sounds really drastic, but we've exhausted all the other options and this seems to be the last one, so that's our plan for her.
The keepers have managed to sedate Kaiyah, ready for her operation. At the park's hospital, the veterinary team get to work immediately. A hysterectomy is a fairly routine procedure, but they don't like any animals being under anaesthetic longer than necessary.
Never nice to see one of your animals have to be knocked down, no matter what it's for, good or bad. So, yeah, it's just a bit tense while she's under, but hopefully she'll be fine.
It isn't complicated, but, you know, any surgery is... It's actually just like spaying a cat mid-line.
Fortunately, there aren't any complications.
It was all there to find, which was nice. Sometimes you've got to hunt for the uterus, and the ovaries came up really nicely. So we've taken out the uterus and the ovaries.
Kaiyah seems to have developed an unusual lump under her chin, so Mike is going to check it out while he has the opportunity.
What I said to Alison that I would do here was to try and dissect this out. Easier said than done.
It seems to be a problem with her salivary gland.
The duct has ruptured somewhere and it's leaking out fluid. That's basically what's happening. It's not life-threatening, and it might eventually heal up on its own.
So, with all her surgery complete, Kaiyah can rejoin the rest of the group. And hopefully from now on, the boys will leave her in peace. The team has gathered at Lavar's house for round 2 of the woolly monkey move. It's been decided to mix up the groups a bit to avoid inbreeding and make sure they all get on together. Alison has come to lend a hand. Bronco has already walked into a crate, but is refusing to go any further.
Come on, Bronx. Come on, Bronx.
They don't want to agitate Bronco, but they are up against time, so they try a different approach.
So we'll gently lift him up.
Yeah.
Let gravity do the work.
This doesn't faze him at all. He has no intention of climbing into the carrying crate.
Go on, Bronx. We're all right.
Time to call in the cavalry.
Careful, it's gonna trouble.
Jeremy's going to see if his luck is in a second time.
We've tried vertical. We've gone back to horizontal.
By blocking his path, Jeremy manages to guide Bronco in the right direction.
Go on then.
Come on, then. Go on, Bronx. Good boy.
Success!
There we go.
And with another woolly safely loaded, it's time to round up the rest of the group. Female Koow doesn't put up any protest. But what about the big man himself? To everyone's relief, the leader walks straight in.
Hello, Bart. Good lad, well done.
And once they've collected young Manny, the group set off for their new home. It's been a busy day, but all the woolies are finally in the right place and are beginning to mark their new territory. Lavar, Bronco, Manny and Koow have swapped places with Oaska and Zingu. Female quapper, who has stayed put, isn't sure about her new housemates and retreats to the back bedroom.
Generally, they're all good. Quapper's quite vocal. She's quite nervous of Lavar. He's obviously a new male. He is a little bit bigger than Oscar as well, who she's used to, but he's a perfect gentleman. He's just biding his time, so hopefully she will get there. Manny's confidence has taken a bit of a knock. He's quite nervous. He's sort of spending a lot of time hidden behind the cat flap, but hopefully once Quapper settles down, everything will sort of quieten down a bit, and yeah, he'll build up the courage to come out and meet everybody. But I'm sure he will get there. It might just take him a little bit longer than the others.
At Lavar's old house, the remaining residents, Picaya, Isla, and Bueno Jr. are about to meet their new leader. Zingu and her new baby come in first, while Oscar bides his time. Bueno Jr. seems excited to see some new faces and heads over to say hello. He's very bold with Oscar, who fortunately doesn't take offence to this over-familiarity. So far, so good. But the keepers will keep a close eye on the three groups over the next few weeks to make sure they all find their feet and play happy, woolly families. Next time on Monkey Life, exciting news of a new playmate for Bulu.
We all hope that the movement from Berlin Zoo to Monkey World won't be a problem for her.
And baby chimp Thelma hangs out with the big boys.
She loves playing with ones like Simon, Arthur, Shamak. They're quite big males.